Hello and good morning. Theresa May is addressing growing fears about the breakup of the UK on a visit to Wales today. It's the first stop on a tour of the devolved nations designed to keep the UK together before formal Brexit talks begin.
The Prime Minister says she'll be listening to people from across the nation as she prepares to begin negotiations to leave the EU. It comes after she dismissed calls for a second independence referendum in Scotland before the Brexit deal is finalised.
Well, let's remind ourselves how Wales voted in the EU referendum last year. More than 52% of voters in Wales chose to leave the EU, compared with 47.5% of people supporting Remain.
It's difficult to calculate the overall investment the Principality gets from the EU, as funding is calculated on a UK-wide basis. But it does benefit from a number of EU schemes, including the European Structural Funds, the Common Agricultural Policy and the European Maritime Fisheries Fund.
It's estimated Wales receives around £680 million from the EU every year.
And that's in contrast to an estimated annual contribution it makes to Europe of £630 million.
Stay live to Swansea. Our correspondent Rebecca Williams is there. Rebecca, very good morning to you. Why is she there?
Well, the whole point of this is to try and build relationships with the devolved nation. She is under pressure to protect the union. And of course, last week we saw her dismiss calls for a second independence referendum up in Scotland ahead of the finalisation of Brexit. Now, today she is in Wales to sign off a deal that will create around 10,000 jobs. The idea is to create digital hubs across Swansea. It's worth around £1.3 billion. So one of the biggest investments that Wales has ever seen. And she has said that she will trigger Article 50 before the end of the month, so a matter of days. And so she really does need to make friends, not enemies. Now, she's described this deal today as an example of what can happen when Westminster and Wales work together. And she's released a statement. She has said, "I want every part of the United Kingdom to be able to make the most of the opportunities ahead, and for Welsh businesses to benefit from the freest possible trade as part of a global trading nation." Now, I should point out, I spoke to the First Minister, Carwyn Jones, a couple of months ago, and he said he didn't feel that Theresa May had any interest at all in Wales. Now, she has visited here several times since, but the key thing for her today will be to build relationships. Of course, it hasn't been a good few weeks for the Conservatives. They've had this record fine for expenses issues during the election, and then there's also been this huge U-turn on increasing national insurance payments to the self-employed. So it's been a tricky few weeks, but clearly Theresa May needs friends, and she needs those in the devolved nations.
Rebecca, thanks very much.